The Communist Manifesto was written out to be, well, a manifesto, or list of policies and aims of the more aggressive and at the time, more out-of-the-box look on its soon-to-be proud big brother, socialism. The manifesto starts with the extremely dramatic and not very subtle depiction of itself. This introductory sentence reads, "A specter is haunting Europe, the specter of communism." It then continues by asking and answering questions about the subject at hand, such as the simple, "What is communism?" all the way to the specific questions about the treatment of certain groups under communist rule. This list of questions and answers continues for 18,000 or so words. As for the origins of the manifesto was written by infamous Karl Marx and his not-so-infamous companion Friedrich Engels. Karl Marx was a Prussian scholar who was well-versed in both law and philosophy after studying school for both. He was the editor of a liberalist newspaper located in Cologne, Germany that, well, I will not try to pronounce. That unpronounceable newspaper was eventually shut down by the Prussian government after it was deemed too radical. But instead of crying his way back to Prussia, Karl moved to Paris, which at the time was apparently not busy making towers and losing wars, but was busy being the center of socialism. Here, a political review apparently didn't care that the last newspaper he ran got shut down, and gave him a job as co-editor. This location is where Marx met Friedrich Engels, and is where the two, for the next 2 years, developed their communist ideas and led their movement. They were contacted by a group of German workers stationed in London called the League of Trust, who asked them to join their cause. After accepting the offer, the duo were put in charge of whipping up a set of guidelines for the group, which had changed its name to the Communist League. The resulting Communist Manifesto itself was made by Marx as a sort of proof of concept to the world of his ideas. He used the manifesto, like America's Constitution, as the basis for itself and as a way to establish itself as something to not just ignore. This plan of Marx seemed to go quite well, as the day after the manifesto was published, riots began in France, leading eventually to King Louis Philippe to step down from his throne. The Communist Revolution, however, did not last long, as the other countries in Europe proceeded to intervene in order to stop what they saw as a threat. The manifesto, however, had been introduced to the world, and its impact could not be stopped now. Its appealing ideas eventually led to the first successful communist revolution, which was the revolution led by Vladimir Lenin in Russia. As you can see, the Communist Manifesto had both an impact literally days after its publication, and for decades and even centuries later. This leads us to the thought of how much the manifesto actually did, which we can only find by dreaming up of what would have happened had it not been written. We do this by pretending that Karl Marx, in all his Prussian wisdom, had decided not to go to college, and instead had stayed in Prussia as a farmer. This leads to Marx not running the unpronounceable newspaper, not fleeing Germany to Paris, or meeting Friedrich Engels, or starting the Communist League, or doing anything that would make him important enough to know about.